Hello my dear friends, you are watching Chess Center, myself Ravi Shram. In this video, I am going to show you how to play chess in a step-by-step manner. This is a completely beginner-friendly video. So at the end of this video, I will make sure that you can start playing chess. So what will you do? You will make sure that you will watch the video till the end so that you won't miss any basic rule of chess. So if you already know about chess, you can skip this video or you can rebrush some basic chess rules by watching this video. That doesn't matter, it's completely your choice. So if you want to skip this video, help out this channel by sharing to your friends, family members or whoever wants to learn chess. This will help out me as well and them as well. So without further wasting any time, let's start our first section of this video, that is chess board. Okay, now we are at the first section of this video, that is chess board. As you can see, chess board is a square shaped board. You can see on the screen as well, which internally contains 64 squares. Among them, 32 are light squares and 32 are dark squares. In a chess board, we have 8 columns and 8 rows as well. These columns are called as files, which are named as A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H respectively. And these rows are called as ranks in chess language, and these are named as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. By this naming convention, we can find the address of each square in the chess board. For example, the highlighted square, as you can see, that is at the eth file and it is at the 5th rank. So it gets the address as E5. Like this, each square in the chessboard has its own address that you can try to find yourself, right? Moving forward, chess can be played between two individuals, where one player gets white pieces and other player gets black pieces. While placing the chess board, this is very important, while placing the chess board, player should make sure that their lower right corner square is a light square. So this is very important while placing the chess board. After placing the chess board like this, you can start arranging the pieces on your chess board. That we can see in the second section of this video, that is arrangement of chess pieces. Okay, now we have seen about chess board. We have to arrange the chess pieces to start playing chess. There are 6 different chess pieces, but we can't arrange however we want. There is a specific rule how we want to arrange the chess piece. So that we are going to see now. We will see the first piece, that is rook. So here comes the rook. I'll place the rook. Rook is of worth 5 points. Remember this. Rooks are placed at the corner of the chessboard. Rooks are placed at the corner of the chessboard. After rook, there comes knight. Knights are placed beside the rook. Knights are of worth 3 points. Like this, knights are placed. After knights, there comes bishops. Bishop is also of 3 points. Bishops are placed right after knights, like this. I am showing in the screen. Hope you are seeing this. Next comes our fourth piece, that is queen. If you are having white pieces or light pieces, then your queen comes in the light square. If you are having dark pieces or black pieces, your queen comes in the dark square. So queen is of worth 9 points. And so it is now very easy to place your king, I think, because there is only one square left for the king. So king goes in this square and white king goes in E1 square and black king goes in E8 square. I told you there are 6 pieces, but we have arranged only 5 pieces. There are 8 squares, but we have arranged only 5 pieces, you can see, because each player get 2 rooks and 2 knights and 2 bishops as well, that you can see on the screen, right? I have highlighted. Each player gets 2 rooks, 2 bishops and 2 knights. So next comes the last piece, that is pawn. Pawns are placed at the second rank from their side, like this. I am arranging for you guys. So pawn is of worth only 1 point. Remember this point as well. Like this, pawn will go. So this is how your chess board looks like after you arrange the chess pieces. I think this is very easy. You can definitely start arranging the pieces as well. So these are the arrangements we need to do before start playing chess. Now both armies are ready to fight against each other, right? But player with the white pieces gets the first to move. He has to move first. After white player moves, black has to move. So each player will make one move until the game ends. But wait, we have not seen how the pieces will move, how to move the pieces, or how to attack the opponent, or how to defend against his attack and all. We have to see how the pieces move. That is the very important section that we are going to see in the next section, that is how to move the pieces or movement of chess pieces. Okay, so now we have seen both armies are ready to fight against each other, as we have seen the last section. Now it is time to learn how each pieces in the chessboard moves. So first we will look into the easiest piece to understand, that is a rook. Rook can move either horizontally or vertically, that is maybe upside, right side, downside or left side. In other words, we can say rook moves in a plus shape, because the path it is covering from its position, it looks like a plus shape, right? So it is easy to understand and remember as well. So rook moves in plus shape. While moving on its path, it will capture the first opponent piece in its path. So as you can see, now rook is at d4 and this pawn, opponent's pawn, is in the path of the rook. So what rook can do, rook can go to this d7 square and it can capture that piece, and that captured piece will go out of the board forever. Regarding this capture, I need to mention 2 points. You cannot capture your own piece. Remember, you cannot capture your own piece. That is the first point. And the second point is, capturing is not mandatory. You can capture or you can play other moves also. If you are seeing some pieces, opponent's pieces in the path, it's not mandatory that you need to capture that. You can play other moves also. These are the 2 points regarding capturing. These 2 points applies not only for rook, it applies for all the pieces. Okay, to demonstrate the movement of rook, I have taken one example. As you can see on the screen, there are 2 rooks. One is a white rook and one is a black rook. White rook is at h6. From this position, it can go to these many highlighted squares. And you can see there is a one opponent piece in the path of the rook, that is knight. Opponent's knight is in the path of this rook. So you can capture or you can play other moves also. For this example, I am capturing that knight. So after I am capturing, you can see it's black's turn now, and black's rook path is like this, as I am showing on the screen. And you can see this rook, that is white rook, comes under the path of black's rook, and black's turn now. So black can capture this rook or ignore that rook. So suppose, let me say, black is not interested to capture the rook, so black can play a move like this. That is also fine. So this is how rook moves. Okay, after rook we will see the movement of bishops. If rook moves in a plus shape, bishop moves in a X shape, that is diagonally. You can see on the screen each side will get 2 bishops. Among them, one is called light square bishop and another one is called dark squared bishop. This light square bishop only moves in the light square diagonally, as you can see on the screen. These are the paths of this bishop from this position, that is from d5. And this dark square bishop can move like this, as you can see on the screen. So this dark square bishop moves only in the dark squares. So the capturing principle for bishops also remains same as rook. It will capture the first opponent piece in its path. For demonstration purpose, I will put one pawn over here and one more knight like this. See, this knight and pawn both are in the path of this dark square bishop, right? So this bishop cannot capture these two pieces, or bishop cannot capture this knight. Bishop can capture the first opponent's piece, that is the pawn. So bishop can capture or ignore, that doesn't matter. If you want to capture, you can capture and that pawn will go out of the board and bishop will occupy its place. To demonstrate further, I have taken one position in a chess game like this, as you can see on the screen. There are 3 bishops in the chess board now. White has only one bishop, that is light square bishop, white's light square bishop, and black has 2 bishops. One is a light square bishop and one is a dark square bishop. These two are together called as bishop pair. From this position, that is c4, white can move to these many squares, as you can see, and let us say this white bishop go here to b3. That doesn't matter. Now it's black's turn to move, right? So black bishop has lot of movements, you can see, lot of square it is covering, as you can see. I am highlighting all the squares possible. Black bishops are covering these many squares. So for this black's light square bishop, there is a one pawn on g2 in its path, and for this dark square bishop, there is one pawn at a3 and there is one pawn at h2 as well. For this example purpose, I will capture this h2 pawn. Now you already know the movement of rook. You can see this bishop is in the path of this rook, right? So you can capture that bishop back, as it's your turn, that is white's turn now. So this is how bishop moves. Okay, now we will look at our third piece, that is queen. If you already understood the movement of rook and bishop, it is very easy to understand the movement of queen, because queen is a combination of both bishops and rook. Because queen can move in plus shape as well as x shape. It can move in both x shape as well as plus shape. It can cover these many highlighted square from the d5 square, as I am showing on the screen. So the capturing principle for queen also remains same. It will capture the opponent's first piece in its path. To demonstrate the example of queen's movement, I have taken this example. As you can see on the screen, this is the example. So as you can see, there are 2 queens on the board. One is white's queen and one is black's queen. And white's queen is in the path of the black's queen, as well as black's queen is in the path of white's queen. So I will just highlight what are all the squares it can cover from this position. It can go to these many squares from this position. So these are the squares the white's queen is covering. It can capture opponent's queen also, or it can move other moves also. It can go to any other square also, that doesn't matter. So let us say for this example purpose, white's turn to move and white is capturing this queen. What will happen? You can see on the screen, it is available in the path of the rook now. So it's black turn and black can capture this queen as well. I am just trying to combine all the movements whatever we have seen already, that is rook, bishop and queen. You can see now the white's queen is in the path of the rook and it's black turn, and black can capture this queen. Hope you understood the movement of these three pieces: bishop, rook and queen. So next piece we are discussing is the king. The king is the most important piece in a chess game. The movement of king is very simple. It can move only one square, but in any direction. That is from d4. Right now it is in d4. From this square it can go to these many highlighted squares. Hope you understand this movement. And king cannot go right next to the opponent's king. I will show that with an example. In this position you can see, let us say it's white turn, and white can go to these many squares highlighted, but these two squares it cannot go, which I have highlighted in orange color. These two squares white king cannot go because it is right next to the opponent's king. So king cannot go to the square which is right next to the opponent's king. And also king can also capture opponent's pieces. It's very simple, right? When you attack the king, king can also fight against you. That's the theory. When the opponent attacks against the king, king will also fight. So king also can capture the opponent's pieces, but it should be right next to him because he can only move one square, right? Hope you understood the concept of movement of king. So now we have seen four pieces movements which are very simple and straightforward. Now comes our fifth piece, that is the knight, which is little bit tricky compared to others, but you can understand for sure. In simple words we can say knight moves in L shape. This L shape is defined as 3 plus 1 squares. If 3 squares are horizontally, then 1 square is vertically, maybe upside or downside. You can see this will become L shape now. If 3 squares are vertically, then 1 square is horizontally, that is maybe right side or left side. This also become L shape now. From this square, that is from E4, this knight can go to these many highlighted squares which I am showing on the screen. So it can cover 8 squares from this E4. You can see these all paths are in L shape only. Knight has a one unique quality, that is knight can jump over the other pieces. Suppose let us say knight is covered by the pieces like this, as you can see on the screen. Knight still can go to its destination as highlighted, because knight possesses a quality that is called jumping. Knight can jump over the other pieces. While capturing, knight cannot capture all the pieces around this path. Knight can capture the piece only at its destination. So capturing principle for knight varies from other. Knight can capture the piece only at its destination, not on its path. To demonstrate the movement of knights further, I have taken one example as you can see on the screen. So it is white's turn and we have one knight at f3 as highlighted. So this knight can capture the bishop at d4 because this bishop is at the destination of this knight. After capturing this bishop, white's knight is available at the destination of the black's knight. You can see now black's knight can capture this knight as well. So this is how knight moves. It is very tricky compared to others, but you have to remember the qualities, like it has the jumping qualities and it can capture the pieces at destination, not at the path. This is how the knight moves. Okay, now we have seen the movement of 5 pieces. Only one minor piece, that is a worth of 1 point, pawn is left now. We have seen all the 5 pieces moves in 360 degree because it can go to any direction. But pawn moves in only one direction, that is towards opponent's side, like this I have highlighted. You can see pawn can move only in the direction of the opponent. if the pawn is moving for the very first time, it can move to 2 squares or it can move to 1 square. Depending on the position, you have to decide whether to move 2 square or 1 square. Let us say I will push this pawn 2 square and black can push their pawn to 1 square. It is not mandatory, they can move to 2 square also, but they have decided to move 1 square. So if it is the first move, pawn can move 2 squares or 1 square. But after the first move, pawn can only move 1 square at a time, that is towards the opponent's side. Capturing principle of pawn might confuse you because pawn moves vertically 1 square towards the opponent, while capturing it captures diagonally 1 square, only in the forward direction, not in the backward direction diagonally, only in the forward direction diagonally. I will show with an example. Let us say we push the pawn to h4 and black pushes the pawn to h5. Now what happens? The pawn at h4 is struck as of now, because this pawn cannot go forward and it cannot capture straight, it has to capture diagonally. There is no piece at g5, it cannot go further. So let us say I will push one more pawn to f4 and black moves the pawn to g5. Now you have many choices. You can capture this g5 pawn with this pawn which is at f4, or you can capture the g5 pawn with your h4 pawn, or you can also ignore that pawn and you can push your pawn to f5. That is also possible. I will show. You can capture also, you can ignore and you can move forward also. Both are possible. So I have told you pawn moves towards the opponent's side. What happens if pawn reaches the last rank? Let me show you. If the pawn goes like this, and let us say it will go like this to the last rank, there is something called pawn promotion. This pawn can be promoted to any of the pieces I am showing on the screen. That is, that pawn can be promoted to queen or knight or rook or bishop. So what happens if the pawn reaches the last rank? Pawn can be promoted. That is called pawn promotion. This is how pawn moves. But wait, pawn has one more special feature, that is called en passant rule, which is little bit confusing, but if you understand the rule, it is very easy. What does this en passant rule states? En passant rule states that whenever your pawn is at the 5th row from your side, that means if you are having the white pieces, that will be 5th rank. If you are having the black pieces, that will be 4th rank. So whenever there is a pawn at the 5th row from your side and opponent pushes the adjacent pawn to 2 square, you can still capture that pawn in the right next move only. What do I mean? I will show with an example. You can see there is a pawn on e5 which is at the 5th row from your side. Let us think we are having the white pieces and our pawn is at the 5th row. If black pushes his pawn to f6, we can capture this pawn with normal rules only. But if he pushes this pawn to 2 square, he can push, right, because it is the first move of this pawn. He can push that pawn to 2 square also. You can still capture that pawn using en passant rule. This looks like a glitch when you are playing online, but it is not a glitch. It is called en passant rule, but you have to capture in the right next move only. Let me say white play one move, black play one move, and now if you try to capture that pawn, that will not happen because you have to capture en passant in the right next move only. This is how en passant rule works. I will repeat again. Whenever your pawn is at the 5th row from your side and opponent pushes his adjacent pawn to 2 squares, this is also adjacent pawn only, you can capture that pawn in the right next move only. This is called en passant rule. I hope this en passant rule is very clear for you guys. So okay, now we have seen the movement of all the 6 pieces. Now we can start playing chess, right? But wait, we can start playing the chess, but how the game ends and what is checkmate, we are going to see in the next section, that is what is check and what is checkmate. In section 2, I have mentioned points for all the pieces except king, because king is the only piece that cannot be captured, but we can check or checkmate the king. When you checkmate the king, the game ends right there. But what is checkmate? To understand this checkmate, we need to understand what is check before. So what is check? So check is very simple. Whenever king is in the path of opponent's piece, that is called check. And we cannot check the opponent's king by king, because I have already told you king cannot go to the square which is right next to the opponent's king. So we cannot check with the king. Let us see with an example. In this example, let us say white's turn to move, and white's rook is at a3, and what I will do, I will take this rook to d3. Now this is called check. Why? Because now opponent's king is in the path of this rook. So now we will say black king is in check. So now we have seen what check is. But whenever there is a check, we have to escape from it. We should not play any other moves. Whenever there is a check, we have to escape from this check. To escape from this check, there are 3 ways. We can escape check in 3 ways. I will show these 3 ways one by one. The first way is moving the king from the path of the checking piece. See, now the rook is giving the check and this king is in check. So what we can do is we can move this king to c8. So now king is not in the path of this rook. So it is not a check. This is the first way to escape from check. The second way to escape from check is to block the check. How does it work? Okay, this is the starting position when there is a check. Now black king is under check. The second escape route is to block the check. Blocking check means we have to bring our own piece between the checking piece and the king. Now in this position, black has a bishop at f5 and black can come to d7. Now you can see black king is under the guard of this bishop. Now this is called blocking the check. This is the second way to escape from check. Now again we will go to the starting position where the black king is in check. Now the third route to escape from check is to capture the checking piece. Now you can see rook is at d3 and this square is in the path of this bishop as well. So what this bishop can do, bishop can capture this rook also and rook will go out of the board, so there is no check for the black king. So these are the 3 ways where you can escape from check. In last example, I have taken a position where we can escape from all 3 routes. But there is no need that all 3 ways must be there. I have taken one more example to demonstrate that. Now let us say it is black's turn to move and black's c4 knight will go to d6 and it is a check to the white king because white king is at the destination of this knight. So what we can do is we cannot block this check because knight has the capacity to jump. As I have already told, knight have the capacity to jump. So only 2 ways are possible, that is to move the king from the check or you can capture that knight with your bishop or whatever the material you have on that position. Whenever the check is from knight, you can use only 2 escape routes. In real games, sometimes there may be only one route to escape check also. That escape route only you have to use in that moment. But when you get the check, that is not the end. When you escape from the check, the game continues. But game ends whenever there is a checkmate. But what is checkmate? Checkmate is very simple if you already understood the check. Whenever there is a check and we cannot escape from this check, that position is called checkmate. Basically, checkmate is a condition of check where there is no ways to escape from it. I will show that with an example. In this example, let us say it's white's turn to move, and what white will do, white has a rook on h3 and it will take that rook to h8. Now there is a check to the black king. Let us see all the ways that we can escape. So the first escape route is to move away from the path of the checking piece. So rook is giving the check like this, and king cannot go here. King cannot go here because these two are also in the path of that rook, and king cannot come to c7, d7 or e7 because I have already mentioned king cannot go to the square which is right next to the opponent king. So king cannot move from this d8 square. So first escape route is gone. So the second escape route is bringing the material in between the checking piece and the king. But there is no piece we can bring in between the king and the rook. Black has one bishop at a6, but that cannot help because that route is as shown in the screen and it cannot go to either e8 or g8 in the right next move. So second escape route is also gone. So the third escape route is we have to capture the checking piece. There is no piece in the black's lineup to capture the piece at h8. So unfortunately for black, this is checkmate because white has given a check. There is no way black can escape from it. Black king is under check and it cannot escape from this check, and black loses the game here and white wins the game. So game ends here in this fashion. This is called checkmate. So now we have seen one way to end the chess game. There is one more way we can end the chess game, that is called draw match. So what is draw match? That we are going to see in the next section of this video. Okay, so now we have seen what is check, what is checkmate and how to escape from check and all those things. Now it's time to learn what is draw matches. So draw match is a match where neither player wins. So how this situation forms? There are 5 types of draw matches. We will look into it one by one. So first type is draw match by stalemate. So what is stalemate? We have seen checkmate, but what is stalemate? Stalemate is a situation where one of the sides does not have any legal moves. That situation is called stalemate. That we can see with the help of one example. Okay, we have one position on the screen. In this position, let us think it is white to move. See, white has a queen and white can easily win. But what if white moves the queen from b3 to b6? This is called stalemate. Why this is called stalemate? See, because there is no legal moves for black king. To call it as checkmate, black king has no checks, but it has no legal moves also. These kind of situations are called stalemate. You can see black king cannot go to this square or this square. These are the only 3 squares black has to move, and these all are covered by this white queen. So black has no legal moves and no checks. So this is called stalemate. This is the first type of draw matches. So moving forward, we have second type of draw match, that is draw match by insufficient material. What does that mean? That means at the end game, we cannot checkmate the opponent with the material what we have on the chessboard. You can all see one position on the screen. Black has only king and white has one king and a bishop. With single bishop, white cannot checkmate the black king however he tries. Like this, if we only have knight also, we cannot checkmate. If we have only king and king, we cannot checkmate each other. So these are the situations where we call it as draw match by insufficient material. The third mode of draw match is draw match by threefold repetition. In a chess match, if a single position happened 3 times in any instance of the game, that game is called as draw match by threefold repetition. For example, as you can see on the screen, now white king is under check, and if he goes to h1 and black queen goes to h3 and give him a check, and if they try to repeat this position like this game is called as draw by threefold repetition. And the next mode of draw match is draw by 50 move rule. 50 move rule states that match will end in a draw if both players make 50 consecutive moves each without any captures and without any pawn moves. For example, you can see now on the screen, each team has only rook and king. There is no pawn to do the pawn moves, and if they try to checkmate the opponent king with the only rook they have, it might happen if the opponent blunders. But if they trying and if they make 50 consecutive moves without any captures and without any pawn moves, this game is also called as draw match by 50 move rule. So the last one is very simple, draw match by agreement. At any point of chess game, players can decide among themselves to draw the game by agreement. Let me show a game. Game starts with the e4, e5, whatever, it will go like this, and at one point if both players agree to a draw, that game is also called as draw match by agreement. So these are the 5 draw matches we have. We have seen all the 5 types of draw matches. Hope you understood all these 5 types of draw matches. Those are very simple draw match types. So now we have come to one conclusion, that we can end the chess game by drawing the chess game or by checkmating the opponent king. So now you can start playing chess. Before that, I have one more special rule that we can see in the next section of this video, that is castling. Okay, now we are at the last section of this video, that is castling, which is also special movement of king. This castling happens between king and the rook. That is why I have placed only king and rook in the screen, as you can see. If you castle with h rook, that is called short castling or kingside castling. If you castle with a rook, that is called long castling or queenside castling. But how to castle? It is very simple. To castle, take the king 2 square towards the rook and place that rook in the opposite direction of the king. This is called castling. What we did now is called short castling because we have castled with the h rook. That is why it is called short castling. If you castle with the a rook like this, this is called long castling or queenside castling. But to do castling, there are 5 rules we need to understand. First rule is we need to touch the king first. We should not touch the rook first. We need to touch the king first. That is the first rule. And the second rule is this should be the first move of both king and rook. Then only you can castle. And the third rule is there should not be any pieces in between the path of king and rook. To understand the fourth rule, I will place a rook at e7. So fourth rule states that whenever the king is under check, you can see now king is under check because it is in the path of this rook, so king is under check. Whenever king is under check, we cannot castle. This is what fourth rule says. And I will place the rook at d7 to convey the fifth rule. Fifth rule states that path between the king and the rook must not overlap with the path of the opponent pieces. You can see this is the path of the opponent piece and this is where the path between rook and king goes. So the paths are overlapping, so we cannot castle. I will show you how to castle in a real game with an example. We have a chess board as you can see on the screen here. And game goes like this: e4, e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to c4 and bishop to c5. Now you can see there is no piece between this king and the rook, and king and rook have not moved yet, and king is not under the check, and the path between the king and the rook is not overlapping by the opponent pieces. If there is no pawn here, then you cannot castle because this path will get overlapped like this. So now this path will not overlap. So in this position you can short castle. This is how castling works. Hope you understood the topic of castling. Okay, now we have completed all the sections of this video how to play chess. I think I have covered all the basic points in this video. Now you can definitely start playing chess online or offline. If you want to play online, if you can use the websites like chess.com or Lichess, whatever is comfortable for you, you can use. If you have any feedbacks on this video, you can definitely comment on this comment box. So by saying that, I will end this video here. So for quality chess contents, stay tuned to Chess Center. We will meet in the next videos. Thank you. Bye bye. Take care.